Hello, this is a video of how to use the reading list within Brightspace by D2L. This reading list is a way you can organize articles or books through our library into a list in D2L, allowing the students to access those materials without having to search specifically for that book or that article. In making these reading lists, you can include GIL catalog, which are books or ebooks in the library itself, as well as Galileo articles that are available via the different databases that we subscribe to. Now, it is important to know with this reading list, you as the teacher are creating the list that the students are going to be reviewing the articles on. This would not be the case of them going out and finding their own articles for research. The first step will be to go into your D2L course and then choose the module where you would like to add the reading list. Then choose Existing Activities, External Learning Tools, and then Galileo Reading List Builder. This will pull in the external learning tool, and then we'll just go ahead and click on it. And then we'll be asked if we want to copy another reading list from another course where we've built one and just use it, or to go ahead and continue without copying, which means we'd be making a new one from scratch. So we'll just choose to not start with an existing list and make one from scratch, but keep in mind if maybe you had one in another course, you want to pull that one in and maybe you just want to use it, or maybe you want to use one that you've used before and then just go ahead and add more to it. But in this case, we'll start with a non-existing list. So we'll continue without copying, and then now we're actually going to start with building our reading list. Notice that it names it by default the name of the course, and then Galileo Reading List Builder is what it names it. You can actually rename it in a minute, but that is one way, that might be a good way to leave it named so that you'll know which list it is. So we want to start by searching for articles or searching for library resources. By default, this is going to pull books, ebooks, as well as that are located in our GIL catalog, as well as Galileo articles. So let's say I wanted to pull some articles for my students to read about regarding personalized learning. So I might start by just searching that topic. And if you notice, it pulls a lot of resources for me. Some of these are books that are available in our library. Some of these, if I scroll on down, some of these are ebooks. Some of these are reports. Some of them are academic journals. So you can see lots of different variety here based upon that particular topic that I searched. Very similar to how Galileo works if you're using it as a student and not building just a reading list here. Over on the side you see there are lots of other options to help filter it. So I might want to only look for scholarly peer-reviewed journals. I'm not necessarily looking for ebooks or books here, so that would filter those out. It doesn't have a list to filter by full text, but one way to do that is if you choose references available. If you filter by that, usually it's going to pull ones that are full text in most cases. There's a couple of other features down here that you might look into. One might be the language. You might want to, only pick English. So that it will filter by only articles written in English. In some cases, you might want to filter them by a certain geographic location. Maybe I'm only looking for articles that were in the United States, and I could even choose a publication year if I'm looking for some only within a certain time limit there. So very similar to how you would with Galileo, you're welcome to click on these articles and read more about them. And then here, if there is a full text, it will be available there. So I can actually just click on this and I can, just like you would in Galileo, read the abstract, read more about it. If it is something that I want to add to my reading list for students to read, I just simply say add to reading list. Then I can go back and I can actually see current reading list here, and it will show me what my reading list looks like right now, which is only just the one article. So then I could go back and continue to search library resources. Now, since I kind of clicked off of it, I have to kind of come back and do my search over again. But one way that you'll probably do is just kind of scan through here and just add things to your reading list as you see them. So I can just come in and basically cherry pick all the different ones that I think I might want to use in my reading list here. Also, at any time I can come back here and say see current list, and then it will show me what I have added into my list here. So these are the different articles that I've added. Notice there's a nice little button here that says cite, and they can choose whichever citation method they would like, and it puts it right there with the particular type of citation. So in addition to adding articles, you may consider adding in text or instructions. So the text may be something like, read the following articles before doing the Unit 2 discussion. So I can add in that bit of instruction. It'll actually put it down here, and I can even add individual notes up under that. So something maybe like, and so then I can save those notes for my students. So now you can kind of see that there's a little bit of instruction and notes, and you could do this per article or per groups of articles, or it might be that you just have it for the entire one. Also, you can move these articles around. So maybe here I would like for these this set of instructions to kind of be at the top of my articles. So I can move that if I want to, or if I want a certain article to come before another, I can always drag and drop them or use the numbering system to reorder them. In some cases, there might be a way that you would want to add in your own articles that are not available via Galileo. It might be like a web-based article or something like that. You can choose to add in a web resource, and you would just paste in the URL of whatever it is and then give it a title. So like this one is from EdWeek. So not something that would be available via Galileo. It's more of just a kind of trade article or popular topic type article that would be something I might want them to read. So I can add in my own individual ones. In most cases, these are going to be things that are just like web pages. It may be that this is all you would want to do with your reading list, is just have some instructions, some web links, and maybe some articles. What you can do if you're maybe having a bunch of articles that are in a related topic, you can actually make folders so that you have a folder about this topic, a folder about this topic, all within one reading list. So in this example, it might be that I want to organize these articles by, a folder for elementary personalized learning and a folder articles looking at high school or college level personalized learning. So I can add a folder here. I would just give it a name. And I could create that folder. And now you can see that it made the little folder for me. It doesn't currently have any items in it, but what I can do now is come within these articles listed, and I can just choose to move them, the ones that are elementary, move them into that correct folder. And so now we see that there are 4 items here, and it might be that I want to make another one and add an additional folder and name it Personalized Learning for High School or College. And then in that case, I create that folder, and then just as I did before, I can move certain articles into it. And it may be that you have all your articles organized in a way that is in folders, or it may be that you have some just generalized what is personalized learning folder or articles down here, and then they look specifically at the folders later. It may also be that you had some really great articles in a previous reading list that you built maybe in a prior course, and you don't want to have to search for those articles again, or you don't maybe remember all the information to find those articles again. You can choose to import from an existing list, and then you would be able to pick from your list or public list of lists that have been made available to everyone. And then from there you can view that particular list and then choose which articles are in those and copy those over into your course or into your specific reading list. The last step now would be to decide if you want this list to be private or public. If it's private, it means that only you can use this list. You can still copy it over to other lists that you create in the future, but it's not available to other professors. If you just select this, it will turn it to the opposite, which is public, meaning that others can see it when they're when they're making their reading list. They can choose to copy from yours. That might be in cases of you built a really great one you want to share among your department or among the school. Now that we're done with this, we'll just X out of it and go back to D2L. By default, this is named whatever the name of, just name Galileo Reading List Builder. You can choose to edit properties in place and rename it if you like. It is probably important to give it as much specifics as possible. So naming it, of course, the name of the course. If this is something that you're thinking you're going to be using only for this class, name it specifically for that class, or name it specifically for that topic, because this will help you in finding it later or copying it over later. As the student, I would just click on the link and it'll open in a new tab, and this is what the reading list looks like for them. So here we have a listing of just the articles that were not put into folders. It allows me to click here to be able to view the full text, and it will link it right there. Either this one's opening into ERIC, a specific database, or it may be that it was linked as a PDF or whatnot, but that is of course how Galileo has linked it in. Also notice they have the cite function like we had earlier to be able to use that to create their citation. Here is a list of my instructions and my notes that I included in, and then here are those different folders. So I'm able to click on those folders, which will then open up into almost like another mini reading list here with the journals linked in, the citations linked in, and then I can either go back to the main one or hop to the different folder here. And I'll be able to look at these. I'll be able to click on the full text. Or I can of course click on the name of it to read the summary before really jumping into the particular full text, and then I can always go back to the reading list and see the different ones there. Also, a great is a nice little copy and print version. And this more or less is just giving them a list of the articles. They could use the web link to try to find it, but actually locating the articles is going to be much easier if they just click on the link and go right to it. But if they are wanting a list, especially if they're looking for a particular citation style, this might be helpful in just having it available to be printed or saved for later. Notice they can also change the citation style depending on what they're wanting, and then just in bulk it will create those citations for them. Going back in as the teacher, you can actually click on any of these articles. So we would just always come to see current reading list, and you're actually able to see what students have viewed this. So we see one student has accessed this particular list itself, just saying that they've clicked on the link to it, and it'll say the name of the student. Now even among that, you can see that one student has clicked this reading, meaning that they have clicked on this reading to view it, and it will give a listing of that. I can come into any of these and be able to see what student has at least clicked on that. So in this case we see no students have opened this one, no students have opened this one, but one student has opened this one, and we're able to click and see who that student was. So what we can draw from this is that the student, this particular student, has started to look at some articles but hasn't actually opened all of them yet. If you copy this course over to another course or another section, you will need to take one more step. So for example, I've copied over this external learning tool, which was the reading list. When I click on it, however, you'll see that if I go to the current reading list, there isn't anything there. So all I would need to do then is just choose import from existing list, and then I would just find the list that I copied it from, so this course, and then I would do view this list. and then I would be able to see this is the ones that I had just created, and so I would choose to check all of those, and then I could just copy all of those readings over. So there we see it's basically brought this exact same list back. So I could go back and see the current reading list, and I would be able to see that it was everything that we had used prior. I just needed to pull it back in under the external learning tool when I copy it over. So again, it's going to copy over the link itself, but once you click on the link, it's going to not show any readings. You'll still have to go through the process of importing from an existing list and then choosing the list from the prior course. And that is how you can bring over your reading list from other courses.